going on, everyone? It's me, Sade Burrell, stand for something. I am doing a video for people who are considering a doctoral program, specifically doctorate in educational leadership or anything around that area, EDDs, whatever it may be. Here are some tips that I am learning in my first year that I thought I would go ahead and share with you all. So I think that these are tips that I believe everyone should know. So I'm going to go through pre-program, so before you get in the program while you're in the program, and then what I'll do is hopefully I'll do another video about after. What is the things I learned after being in the program, completely like done. But here are some things that I am learning. I got some people ask me some questions, and so the first thing I want to start with is this. When you're searching for EDD programs that you want to potentially go to, I will highly suggest that you look at the model of their program, right? So not just looking at, location or anything, like the model of their program. Does their program model work with you? So for instance, the program I'm in has a cohort model, meaning that we start in one group and throughout the years, we all follow in that group. Unless somebody falls, behind, even if you fall ahead, that's okay because you're still in the cohort. But if you fall behind, you might go to the next cohort, which is fine too. So that works well for me. My learning style and the way I am, it works great for me. Some people don't like that. Some people want to work in silo. Some people just want to, do their own thing, and that's okay. But you have to make sure the program that you're going to is in alignment with what you need or what you want. So I would highly recommend that as you begin searching for EDD programs for you to go to. Another thing is go to their, at least for my program, they had two, you're able to go to learn more about the program. I highly encourage you to go to those because I enrolled in the program during COVID-19. So everything was online. I'm sure had everything been in person, I probably wouldn't have been able to go up to the institute and see it in person. But again, I enrolled in my program during COVID-19. That's another story. But so I've been solely online too. So I think that's an important point for me to make is that my first year is spent online. We will be going back in the fall in person. So I know what it's like to experience online and what it's like to experience in person. So I'm really excited to go back in person because that's another learning style that works best for me. But I made adjustments. So I made adjustments to learn how to be a good online student. So make sure that, you're able to go to those, program informational sessions. That's crucial. Now, once you've done all that, you've researched things, and you've been accepted into the program, here's what I would say. Immediately get to work. Some people are like, I'm going to go out and I'm just going to celebrate, and when the time comes, I'm going to get serious about school. That's not a good idea at all. I'm going to tell you what separated me from other people and what allowed me to have my papers done 2-3 weeks in advance versus other people. They were like barely meeting the deadlines. Not that I'm better or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but they were kind of falling a little bit behind. And I was a little concerned because it was the first quarter. Now, mind, we go by quarters, not semesters. But I was concerned, and I began to say, okay, how can I make sure that doesn't happen to me? And so I did some reflection about what set me apart. You always want to do reflection. So what set me apart was when I got accepted in the program, I immediately went to work. I began watching YouTube videos about people who successfully completed an EDD program, EDD programs all over the world. I've been watching, I interviewed people before I went to the program. I interviewed people. And then when I got accepted into the program, I interviewed people as well. Right. So I really was eager to learn before the learning began. So I would recommend that, research people who are currently in those programs, on at least in the day and age right now is social media. So I began following people on social media who doctoral student, dissertation queen or king or whatever. I just everything became about my program, and I wanted it to be fun. So if I know I'm going to get on social media, I at least allow everything to be aligned with that. So on Facebook, I began following this individual who has a whole entire community. I joined groups on Facebook with people who were going for their EDDs, PhDs, etc., all types of different doctoral degrees. And so I followed that. And then social media, Instagram. I was heavy on Instagram. I love Instagram. So I said, okay, I need to make sure that I'm aligned with Instagram as well. And so I began following individuals who they were posting studying, they were posting tips about, how to get through this, how to get through that, etc. as a doctoral student. So my life became about the subject matter. Okay. So that was before we even went to our first class. Now you're in your first class is beginning. The moment you get your syllabus, this is what I recommend. The moment you get your syllabus, even if you don't have all of them, immediately take your phone. You take your phone and you plug in all dates, all due dates. So I use Google Calendars. And so for mine, I color coordinated everything. So like all of my classes that I had to go to, they were in yellow. All of my papers that I would do, they were in red. And I set reminders a week before, and then a few days before, and then the day of, right? A few hours before the day of. Now, that works best for me because a lot of times in doctoral programs, if you don't have things scheduled out in advance, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, and that's how you fall behind. Remember I said I had my papers done 2-3 weeks in advance? It's because I calendared everything. If it was not on my calendar, I did not go. That goes for everything. Work, I put my work in there. I recently just invested in this lady to actually help me fix my schedule and everything like that, so I can make sure that I am on track with because we're going back to in person with everything. Life is returning back to normal, so I have to now change my home schedule to in person and everything like that. Work, traveling to and from work and school and things like that. So I hired someone to help me with that. Okay, so what I found was that people were calling me, Sade, where are you at? Where are you at? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you're supposed to be online at this meeting. Thank God it was online, because if it was in person, I wasn't going to make it. But what I realized is that I didn't put it on my calendar. Again, if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. Even your kids' schedule, it should be on your calendar. So my kids they're both, my son, they're in a drum line, right? My son plays the drum. He's going to kill me. I forget the name of it. And my daughter dances. Their schedule is on my calendar. Why? Because I have to drive them there. And so I believe I had all my sons in blue, and my daughters, I had hers, and I think she had like a pink color or something like that. So I had her stuff in there. Now, with that being said, if it's not on your calendar, it does not exist. It does not exist. Everything has to be on there. Even car oil changes. I'm getting an oil change on Monday. I had to put that on the calendar. The reason I had to put it on the calendar, if it's not there, it doesn't exist. So get your calendar. So as soon as you get your syllabus, put all that information on there, and then even put your study times on there as well. So for me, and I'm going to get into this next, routine. So for me, I study from 4:30 a.m. Well, I wake up at 4:30. I'll do some exercises and things like that. So from 5 to like 8. Now I go to work from like 8 to whatever time I get off on that day. But remember, it's online. So I'm going to have to change my schedule back to in person. So I've been working on my schedule this upcoming summer for August. So I know that, okay, I can't study from 5 a.m. to 8 because I have to go to in person. So my schedule will probably be from probably start studying exactly at 4:30. So I'll probably start waking up at 4, studying at 4:30 to like 6 o'clock, and then be out the house by 7. Drop the first child out, second child, etc. Right. So that's more of a schedule that is good for us, right? But again, everything was scheduled on the calendar, etc. So have it on there. Color coordinate everything so you don't get confused. Even for me, and I'm going to talk about this as well. Paying for the program, because a lot of people say, "How are you paying for this program?" I'm going to explain that as well. So let me get into why do I wake up at 4:30 a.m. Well, let me see. I might have the book on me right now. Give me 1 second. I do have it on me. There we go. It's a book right here Discipline equals freedom. Right here. Highly recommend this book. And actually, if you go to this book right here, will save you. Let me go here. I can't find it right off the top, but this book right here will save you. It teaches you how to build a home gym. It teaches you about why waking up at 4:30 is better, etc. 4:30 a.m. works well for me. Nobody's up at 4:30. There's nobody to bother me. There's nobody, I need this, I need that. No, 4:30, everybody's pretty much asleep, right? And so I'm able to get a lot done. And it's great to start off my day like that. The days that I did not wake up at 4:30 and start working on stuff and things like that are the days I did not have a good day. I figured I didn't have a good day because it was actually building my confidence, knowing like I was up before everybody else. And so for me, having a routine is crucial. Now, some days I get bored with a routine. I'm like, man, that's not fair. How come I can't watch TV? How come I can't laugh about, watching American Idol or whatever it is? And it sucks sometimes. It really does. But you know what else sucks? It sucks being normal, being average. Not everyone is in a doctoral program. So I can't be like everyone else, right? So it's a different mentality that you have to have. Everyone's not in school, so everyone's not going to have the same exact routine that I currently have. That makes a lot of sense. So my routine, like I said, these past few weeks, I'll give you an example. These past few weeks, I have not stuck to my routine, which is not good. And so what happens is when I don't stick to my routine, I don't feel good. So I had to get back on track, eating right, etc. Okay? All of that stuff. Had to get it all right. So routine is crucial. Put together a routine. So you know what to expect every day. And people say, well, do you ever wake up on days like do you ever, if it's a weekend, I'm not going to wake up at 4:30. Don't do that to yourself. In fact, when you read this book that I just mentioned, the book says you should wake up at 4:30 every day. And the reason why is because if you decide, on weekends, I'm only going to wake up at 7 or something like that, then on Monday, your body has to retrain itself. It's going to be harder for you to get up. Versus even now, when I don't wake up at 4:30, my body still wakes up at least 5. Naturally, because it's just used to that. And so have a plan. Don't just wake up at 4:30 just because you want to say, oh, I'll wake up at 4:30. Have a plan. Whatever time works best for you. Some people like studying at nighttime. I don't like that. I want to relax. And so if I wake up at 4:30, I should go to bed at 9:30. Same amount of sleep as anybody who went to bed who wakes up at like 8. Unless they're going to bed at like 3 in the morning or something like that. So develop your routine and see what works best for you. Your routine with studying, your routine with waking up, your routine with your family, etc. What does that look like? Sundays for me are fun days with my family. So I'll study in the morning or read a book. Eat. Like right now we're doing summer school, but summer school is not as challenging as during the semester. It's still challenging, but not as challenging. So what I do is I study in the morning and then we go have fun. The rest of the day, fun. That's the fun day for my kids. I have to have it like that. I try not to schedule things, or if I do volunteer for things, my children must be able to come, and it must be something that's fun for them. So, for example, we sometimes clean up our neighborhood and pick up trash, things like that. We actually like doing that. We like having our community look nice, so we'll pick up trash and we talk and we pick up trash, and that's fun. Or we'll do something, that I guess the world would consider fun, which is, go to our arcade or something like that, or the beach or whatever. All right. So develop your routine. I'm going to talk about something. I'm going to get into a few questions that people ask. Paying for school. Number one question I get asked is, how do I pay for school? Pay for school. Let me backtrack real quick. Routine. I talked to one of my friends and I said, hey, I work out and I don't want to have to give that up. She said, please do not give that up. Oh, I'm going to talk about things you should not give up. And then I'm going to get into how I pay for this program. Things you should not give up. The one thing is you should work out. Don't give that up. I don't care how tired you are or whatever. Don't give that up. She said the reason why is because she said if you're not working out and doing something physically for your body's not going to be able to physically make it through these programs. And so that's why I said I wake up at 4:30, but I don't start till 5 because I was doing yoga. Like, I don't like that, doing the poses and stuff like that, but it helped me. It stretched me out in the morning, and I was running. Every Tuesday I would run. So on Tuesdays at 6:30 I would run. And then I hurt my knee, so I don't run. Now I box. Tuesdays and Thursdays I go to the boxing gym at 6:30. And I box. So you got to have something, because your body cannot take on this much pressure and then just keep going. You don't want to be completely burnt out at the end of your program. Now you hate your program, you hate your chair, you hate everybody, you hate the students. You run around telling people, don't do it. You know, so just keep working out. Another thing is, I think it's important too, and this is what I say. I don't care what no one. It's two things that I'm like, I absolutely have to have. I have to have someone come to my house and clean. I cannot function, nor study, nor work, nor do anything in a dirty house. But I don't always have the time to clean, because I have my schedule is so crazy. So my friend recommended this individual to come, reasonably priced, very reasonable. Pay her once. She comes twice a month to clean. So all I gotta do is keep it up. So every other week she comes. And all I have to do is keep up what she already did. That saves me so much time. So much time. And people are like, oh, should I talk? How are you doing that and paying for a program? Because I don't have loans. I'm paying for it cash. So I'm going to teach you how to do that as well. So scholarships, and there are limited scholarships and things like that. But I would say this: if you are able to have someone come to your house and clean, pay for it. Get a scholarship. Like, make it your mission. Like, okay, hold on. This lady says she costs $200 a month. So that means I need at least a scholarship for $2,400. Because I'm using that scholarship to pay for someone to come clean my house. And you have to be careful. You can't say it's around everyone. Well, that's not what the money is for. It's supposed to go on educational need. Hold on. If I just told you that in order for me to operate at my best, and I'm in my house studying all the time, then my environment needs to be clean. You want me to have a certain GPA? You want me to have certain classes I need to pass and follow schedule? I'm telling you what's going to help me. Yeah, I'll make sure I buy my books. I'll make sure that happens. Yeah, I'll make sure all my school fees are paid. But part of my journey is also having someone come clean. I can't do it all. And I'm a parent, and I'm going to get into that as well. So I can't do it all. So that is something that I want you to think about, unique situations that you have that you could potentially find a scholarship, or I don't know, raise funds. And I'm gonna get into how you can get more money, because I'm gonna get into how I'm paying for my scholarship. This is ways that you can pay. So another thing is, I have a food service. Sometimes I do HelloFresh, or we have this thing called Meal Prep San Diego, and I use them. I'm very bad at eating, very, very bad at it, and under eating is just as bad as overeating. Right? I was fortunate enough to be able, when the pandemic hit, I lost 17 pounds because I worked out. I developed a routine and I worked out. Lost 17 pounds. I want to keep those 17 pounds off because I feel a lot better. I'm not sluggish. I'm not any of that stuff. I feel great. But what I realized is that sometimes I get so busy I forget to eat. And what happens is that's not good for your body, because then it starts eating away stuff that your body starts eating away at stuff it should not be eating away at. So it's just as bad as overeating. So what I did was I found a service called Meal Prep San Diego, and they deliver the meals to my house 5 days. They deliver lunch and dinner for me, and all I do is heat it up. And then you can do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but I don't want to do breakfast because that one's easy for me to do, you know. But excuse me. So find little things that you can outsource, kind of like a business, right? The CEO of Amazon is not mailing off your packages. They're not sweeping the floor. I'm sure in the beginning they did. But it's not like that anymore. So if it's not like that anymore, and how did they get to a point where they're able to bring people on, outsourcing and things like that? I'm going to teach you that. So I'm paying for my program out of pocket. I work a full-time job. Most EDD programs, you still work a full-time job. Now, when I came to my EDD program, I told my mentor, who's the president at a college here in San Diego, I said, we're going to be eating beans and rice. We're not doing nothing for the next 3 years. And we were literally going to be eating beans and rice, because I was like, I have to be broke in order to pay for this program. And my mentor said, why would you do that to those kids? I'm like, what do you mean? He said, it's bad enough that you're going to be in school, meaning that a lot of your time, even when you're present, you're not present. is going to be dedicated to school. So now these kids, not only do they not get to see you as much, get your full undivided attention, but now they got to eat beans and rice too. I said, well, I'm not literally going to feed them beans and rice, but we're not going to be eating it. He said, no, don't change their lifestyle just because your lifestyle is changing. Don't change their lifestyle just because your lifestyle is changing, because they're going to grow up and hate school, and resent you. And meanwhile, you're going to school because of them, which is 100% true. This is really for my children, right? Because the more I advance, the more we all advance, right? I want to be an example. I'll be the first in my family to have a doctoral degree, etc. So we all advance. The problem is they don't see it like that. They miss having their mommy. They miss having my undivided attention, etc. They want that. So if that's taken away from them, at least keep everything else the same, which is why, again, the routine is crucial. So they have their dance, they have their drumming, they have all those things, and it's in place, right? And so that's why I had to outsource. So I outsourced for cleaning, okay? If I cleaned every week the way I really want my house clean, it's taking away time from them. If I cook every meal the way I wanted to cook all the time, then take away time from them. So I outsource those things, but paying for the program does not mean you have to completely cut your whole entire lifestyle. Like I said, most EDD programs, you do work full time, and it was designed for us to work full time. Most PhD programs, I know that they often, a lot of times, they want you focused solely on that, so you get like a stipend or something like that. But that is not the way this program, my EDD program, works, and most EDD programs do not work like that. So here's what I did. I have a skill set. I love talking, if you can't tell by now. I enjoy talking. I do a lot of public speaking. I travel the world as a public speaker. I speak to foster youth. I speak to social workers. I speak to college athletes. I speak to corporations. I speak to a lot of different audiences. So I said to myself, I have a plan. I have a skill. So step number 1, identify your skill. What is one thing that you're really, really good at? And then what I want you to do is, how can you make money off that skill? And so here's what I did. I began using all of my money for speaking. I'm using that to pay for my program. So every time someone books me to speak at an organization or do anything, give a keynote, give a graduation speech, I do workshops as well. Whenever I do workshops or professional development or anything like that, guess where the money goes? To my program. Right? Another way that you can potentially, if you're like, I don't have any skills, it's not something, see if your employer offers overload, or we call it overload. See if they offer overtime. Additional, now you're like, that's more time I'm spending away from my kids. That's true, right? But if that's not an option for you, then what's another option for you? Scholarships. Also reaching out to friends and family. Like if you're good at cooking, start selling plates on Sundays. Every Sunday, you and the kids, that could be a family activity. Guys, we have a business. We're going to be selling these plates, and we're selling the plates for $20 each. If you sold so many plates, like if you sold like 20 plates, that's like $400 right there off 20 plates. That's $400 right there in one weekend. And if you did that every weekend you made $400 from selling plates. That'll be $1,600 a month. Now, how am I able to pay for my program? Because I also found a cost-efficient program. In the beginning, I mentioned you should be looking at all these things. One of the things I forgot to mention was you should be looking at the cost of this program. The worst thing for you to do is to go into debt, because that is something that never goes away. Unless you have federal loans and you die, then they go away. Or you do the 10-year plan and you're stuck in an organization, a nonprofit organization for 10 years. So what I said was, because I went to graduate school, and when I went to graduate school, I learned very quickly that loans are the devil. That's the devil in the flesh, loans. And so I said, okay, I need to find a program that I can pay out of pocket, where it will interrupt my life, but it will not dismantle my life. It'll interrupt my life, but not dismantle. So yes, me speaking all the time. I spoke almost every week this past quarter, every week. But guess what? My tuition is paid for. So I then began finding scholarships so I can pay for the next year. And also, now that allows me time to use, instead of us eating at restaurants and things like that, I'm like, okay, cool. We're going to make cooking dinner a family activity when we cook. If we have the time, it's a family activity. It's not just me cooking. Now I'm distributing the responsibilities. So I recommend creating some type of business to help pay for this program. What skills do you have? Can you sew? Can you draw? Go down to Balboa, like in San Diego. I know everyone's from all over the world, but in San Diego, you can go down to Balboa Park and you can literally draw artwork. Sit out there for like 4 or 5 hours, have the kids out there, make it a picnic. Hey kids, you guys stay back here and do the picnic. I'm going to be up here drawing pictures. You guys want to be my assistants? Okay, perfect. When a customer comes up, you guys do this, right? And it doesn't matter where you are. You can turn it into, I'm sure every city has some type of park or something like that. But you got to find a side business to pay for, because again, there's not a lot of scholarships available. Once you go past a bachelor's, pretty much you're limited in your funding. So I recommend, what skills do you have? Use that to pay for, if you're good at music, all right, cool. This is good at tutoring. If you already have children, you got to tutor your children. Why not just tell someone else, hey, I'll tutor your child for X amount of dollars a week. You already got to do it for your own child. How do you do that? If your child's in 6th grade, they literally have a whole bunch of different classes they go to, and all you got to do is ask the school principal, hey, I want to start tutoring some of these kids. I noticed that some of them are falling behind, and I don't want them to fall behind. So I'm offering tutoring. Here's my resource. Is it possible for you to distribute this to the parents? If they say yes, great. If they say no, give it to your child and to have your child going out there and do that. Go out there and distribute it to their friends. Another thing is I wrote a book. I wrote 2 books before I started a doctoral program. So I'll get on Instagram or wherever, and I'll start talking about the book, selling the book. Money from the book is also used to pay for my doctoral program. Now you're like, well, Sade, not everyone wrote a book. You're 100% right, but everyone can sell something. If you go on canva.com, and you can literally create an ebook in less than 3 hours, a basic ebook, and sell that thing for $1.99. You're like, well, Sade, come on, I'm not gonna pay for a doctoral program with $1.99. No, but it'll shave some of it off. Right? You sell so many of those, then now you have a so then you can tell parents, hey, not only am I doing tutoring, but here's a guide for you. We're helping your helping your child while they're in school. It's only $1.99. They'll buy it. Go straight to their email. So those are some of the things that have helped me along the way. So now I'm going to get into these questions. Let me get into the question. So I had a question here, and I'm going to talk about writing as well. So it said, do you give yourself a certain amount of hours per week based on how long the paper has to be? No, I have a routine. And the routine, whatever routine, the study hours that I have set, I write during those hours every day. My professor told me this. She told me this is supposed to be a part-time job. So I know how many hours I should be studying. So if a part-time job, I study between easily on a weekly basis, 15 to 20 hours a week. That's what works for me. Reading, writing, doing whatever. 15 to 20 hours a week. So the moment I get my syllabus, I wait until the professor explains the papers and stuff like that. Or what I do is I get my syllabus and I ask to meet with the professor ahead of time so I can learn about the assignment so I can start it. So if I had a literature review paper that we had to do. I think we were given more than enough time to complete it in a timely manner. And some people did it in a time frame. Some people did not. But the professor extended the deadline. I did not extend the deadline on my calendar. I kept it the same. Now, we were extending a week. No, I turned that thing in even a week before it was due. So the week before it was originally due, I had turned it in. So it's 2 weeks early. And that gave me time to meet with my professor. So what I do is I always meet with my professors all the time, as often as they allow me to. I'm in a program, and that's a thing you want to ask. Does the program allow you to meet with professors? If so, how open are they to meeting with students? Because some programs aren't like that. You go to class, maybe you can talk to them through email, and that's it. My program, we have a lot of communication with our professors. So everything is, but let me give you a tip too. I use a website called focusmate.com. Focus, FOCUSMATE.com. FOCUSMATE. And you study in 50-minute increments. 50 minutes. So every 50 minutes, you study on whatever it is, then 10 minutes. And you study with someone on the other side of the screen. That's what helped me stay accountable. And I have an accountability partner in person. Someone who I'm in school with, who I work with, is in a doctoral program as well. So during spring break, most people were chilling, doing whatever they was doing. We were up every morning studying, reading and writing, bouncing ideas off each other, etc. That's what we were doing. So I would recommend that you have accountability partners, someone who's in the program with you, or someone who's in another program, or you use FocusMate. And social media. There are so many people on social media who you can have as accountability partners. And you don't even I use my social media now to post what I'm doing. Like I'll study for like 3 hours straight because I get excited about the topic. And then bang, there you go. So, and here's a tip too that I know you didn't ask this question. Here's what I do. Make every assignment that you ever have, every assignment about your dissertation topic. So for instance, I'm doing a presentation. My research topic right now, today, on this day, it is exploring how leadership impacts campus-based programs serving students who experience foster care. So every paper I've written so far has been about that. I don't care if they tell us to write about, or we had to write about cultural proficiency. I wrote about leadership in foster youth with cultural proficiency. We had to write achievement gap paper. I wrote it about leadership and foster youth. So the sooner you discover your dissertation topic, or at least have an idea, like at least the population, like, okay, for sure I want foster youth. I don't know what in foster youth, but something. Then it makes life easier because now you can start pulling from papers and adding that to even your dissertation proposal. So it makes life a lot easier when you know your dissertation topic. So and it's not to judge anyone. I'm not judging. I'm not being harsh or anything, but I'm just saying that you should, in the beginning, when you're looking at EDD programs, you should be thinking about things you want to study, potential things. Now, granted, every time you go to class, you'll learn something new and you'll want to change your topic. You'll be, oh my God. And that's what happened to me because I thought I was going to study how to build a program for foster youth. And I was like, no, I know what leadership in foster youth. How does leadership impact foster youth who are in college? That's what I realized, right? So my topic kind of changed, but the population never changed, or like it never changed. So find a population you're passionate about and stick with that. If it's veterans, go with veterans. You don't know what exactly with veterans, but it's veterans. Now you can write every paper on veterans. And when you begin to do your annotative bibliography, you begin to find articles on veterans, et cetera, whatever it is. So it makes your job a little bit easier. So yeah, my routine is what determines when I write and things like that. So like if I have a 4-hour study session, then I'll say, okay, for this session, I'm doing this paper. For this session, I'm doing that paper. I'm reading in this one, I break it down. So I come up with a pre-game plan before I start writing or reading. I don't just, I got to read, I got to study. No, I already have it planned out. Like I'm writing for 1 hour on this paper, and then I'm going to the writing center on that paper. Then I'm doing this. I have everything mapped out. I went to the writing center ahead of time. In fact, I went to the writing center, and then they sent the survey saying if you complete this survey, you're eligible for a $25 Target card. Like they'll draw your name. I didn't think I would win. Put my name in. I got a $25 Target card. You see, I'm finding smart and unique ways to obtain finance, like this program, $25. People are like, that's $25. You can't pay for a program. That's $25 I did not have to spend. That's $25 that can go to my program. Every penny counts. Every penny. Not wasting gas, driving all over the place. That saves money. All right, second question that would ask. She asked, is it based on research or just a matter of discipline? It is discipline as well. So I talked about that earlier, the research. Have your topics align with all your papers at all times. Never write a paper just because you're writing the paper. Always, every assignment should have to do with whatever your subject. Every time we have a class discussion, who do I bring up? Blacks and foster youth. All the time. I'm passionate about black people. My dissertation is on foster youth. All the time. I don't care what we're reading. Critical race theory, I'm talking about those two populations. We start learning about organizational resiliency, foster youth, leadership. Everything is about the populations. That's what it's about. So I recommend highly doing that, having your routine down and your writing schedule. Also, like I said, I recommend for writing, our professors gave us some templates, some writing templates, because you can't start off every sentence when it comes to writing with, the researcher said, or it's unique way that you can start them off. I'll put my email at the end of this video. And so if you would like those resources, perhaps maybe I could share that with you. Of course, I will have to ask the professor, but I can share the resource with you. Okay. That's all I got for right now. But hopefully I'll be able to come back with even more information as the time goes on. This is what I'm learning so far in the program. Okay. So I hope that this video was very beneficial to you and it was helpful for you. And I hope that you're able to develop a routine and develop just a way for you to not change your life so drastically that people, don't even recognize you and that you end up hating your program or anything like that. We want you to love your program. So again, very quickly, read your syllabi, create a calendar, develop discipline. Waking up at 4:30 a.m. every day requires a level of discipline. Making sure paying for your program. Is it cost efficient? If it's not, maybe earning a doctoral degree and how much you need to pay, it may not wait. It may not even be the best thing for you. Okay. So those are some of the tips that I have for you. And when it comes to writing, please go to the writing center. If you have a writing center, great. Take full advantage of the writing center. If not, I recommend that you study with people, have an accountability partner, have your classmates check your papers. And if you're able to meet with professors ahead of time, meet with professors ahead of time. So with that being said, it's me, Sade Burrell. I hope that you all have a great first year, like I'm having a first great year. With that being said, y'all have a great day. God bless you.